Seattle's pretty expensive, and if you're looking to move to the Seattle region, or maybe you are currently living there and you're looking to purchase your first home, here are going to be your top 5 most affordable suburbs. Stick around for number 5 because it's my favorite. So first on the list, we have Ording. Ording is a small town closer to the base of Mount Rainier, and it is the most adorable little city that has easy access in and out. And we're noticing that Ording is overall lower in price than a lot of areas. And it also has a really neat small town feel and small town features that not other areas have anymore. So it's definitely one of my top picks. Another thing I think is super important to know about Ording is that you actually have multiple types of homes in the town. So you have a ton of 1-story homes, you've got a lot of 2-story newer construction homes, and then you have this mass amount of really neat, more rural areas with large pieces of property. I forgot to mention an amazing view of Mount Rainier from pretty much everywhere. And it just has this really neat kind of community feel of a bunch of different things going on. And so that's why Ording stays as number 1 on my list. I'm Larissa. I'm a Washington real estate agent. And if you have questions about moving into the area or moving in the area in general, send me a direct message or leave a comment below. I also have a ton of resources in my description, so feel free to check those out as well. Next on the list is Federal Way. Federal Way is a little bit further north, but if you're commuting still into Seattle, whereas Ording might not be the best pick if you're having to still do the commute. Federal Way also is actually very soon to be serviced by the light rail, and if you're familiar with the Washington area, you know that the light rail is a commuter train, effectively, that's going directly into downtown Seattle, and it is soon to be servicing Federal Way, Washington. For a long time, Federal Way was kind of out there and harder to get to, which means the prices have stayed lower for a lot longer. But now with the addition of the light rail, as well as the easy access to I-5 and 18, there are so many opportunities in Federal Way that people just haven't necessarily captured yet. I think you're also seeing in Federal Way this nice mix between cute suburb as well as more luxury modern homes, lots of mid-century modern, and we saw a lot of Federal Way being built out in the 80s. So you've got some really fun architecture there that you're not going to capture in other areas that are brand newly built. Federal Way is one of my favorite picks because of the easy access to pretty much everything you need, the central location right between Seattle and Tacoma, and the fact that you're able to get water views in a lot of the town. Next on my list is Puyallup. For so many reasons, Puyallup is an amazing spot for newer construction homes, 2-story and larger homes, all for price points that you are not going to see anywhere else. A lot of times that area gets a bad rap for the traffic, and it is true. It has some heavy traffic coming into downtown. But if you are maybe telecommuting or you don't need to get access to Seattle right away, Puyallup is an amazing spot for newer construction homes, 2-story and larger homes, all for price points that you are not going to see anywhere else. There's a huge infrastructure there for different types of food, shopping, all kinds of different things that you're able to get access to in Puyallup, and it's the home of the Washington State Fair. And so if you like activities, there's all kinds of different activities going on there, as well as casinos nearby. So it's overall a great spot for suburban living because you have so many different amenities, and you have entertainment coming into the area, and you're going to get a newer home because Puyallup was not built out back in the 80s. So you have a lot of really neat features coming to you in Puyallup, and I would say overall it's still a really good price point to be in, whereas some of the other areas you're going to get higher price points for the same type of home. And it remains on my list for families who are looking to have a little bit nicer, a little bit newer homes and want the convenience of having stores nearby and entertainment nearby. Fife is my next one, and I think sometimes people forget about Fife because of where it's located. It's right on that L turn where I-5 comes down between Seattle and then heading over into Tacoma. But Fife is a cute little area, and if you get further enough away from the main roads, you're going to see adorable little farms, lots of different older homes that have been retrofitted, and a really solid price point. Plus it's right next to I-5, so you're going to get the commute with easy access. Fife stays on my list because of, one, the easy access to Seattle or Tacoma, reverse commute to Tacoma, meaning it is super quick to get downtown, and still easy to get to base if you're going all the way down to JBLM. And Fife has homes that have been recently renovated, although older, usually have some really amazing features. And most importantly, Fife has some of the bigger lots that we're seeing in other areas. I think Fife is a really awesome opportunity, again, if you are looking for entertainment as well as easy access to stores and amenities, because there is so much so local, specifically talking about entertainment. And if having a large lot size is important to you, Fife is definitely the one to take a look at. All right, last on my list and my absolute favorite is Auburn. Now, I purchased my first home in Auburn, Washington, and there was a couple reasons why. The first one is the proximity to basically everything. Auburn sits just east of Federal Way, and it's situated really nicely between 18 and I-5 and 167. All of those major freeways in the area is super easy to get access to. Now, it's important to know that Auburn has a couple different parts. And so when I say Auburn, I do mean just overall all of Auburn, but there are very, very clearly 3 sections of Auburn that is important to differentiate. The first section of Auburn is what you might be most familiar with when I say Auburn, Washington, and that is the downtown area. Now, that is going to feel a little bit more urban. You've got older homes built in the 1920s and 40s. Even into the 50s is when Auburn really started to be built out. My home was built in the 50s, the first one I owned. And that is a really awesome area for commuters, for renters. If you are going to be looking for a future rental property, that's where you want to be. There's also duplexes in the area, which means it's great for investing opportunities. And it overall has a really neat access to basically anything you're going to need. And it's a nice area that has been kind of kept up and a lot of older folks living there. The next part of Auburn is going to be up on the hill, Lee Hill area, and that is going to be closer to Green River College, which is amazing, again, for renter income and also for people who are just looking to have a little bit more of a suburb feel. That up on the hill is going to be a better spot for you. And then the last part of Auburn that I'm really partial to is as you go even further east, the farmland side. There is this huge section of Auburn that I think is sometimes overlooked in that it is basically farmland for a really good discount. Oftentimes we talk about Enumclaw, or we know other areas that are really expensive that have a lot of farmland, but Auburn is a really neat area that's in King County and has overall lower property values than some of those other more well-known cities that are more rural. So if you are looking for cheap areas to be in as you are exploring moving into the area or just being in Washington in general, those are my top picks: Orting, Federal Way, Puyallup, Fife, and Auburn. I hope you found this video useful. If you have more questions about home buying in Washington State, go check out one of my other videos, and we'll talk to you later.